Okay, this is a quick audio test. We're here at JL Murphy Reserve. It's extremely windy. So let's turn that down a bit. Yeah, maybe I can. That's very low now. 1, 2, 3. Now there's a chance on goal and there's a shot coming in.
Yeah, testing 1 2 1 2. Testing.
I'll bump you up a little bit because I'm louder. Keep going.
Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2.
A little bit louder for him. All right, go again.
Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2.
Good. Lovely. All right. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to round 6 here in NPL Victoria. We're live from JL Murphy Reserve. It's the Port Melbourne Sharks taking on Heidelberg United. Well, Port Melbourne make just one change, or two changes to the starting 11, I should say, from the team that defeated Manningham United 3-0 last week. Nathan Hancock drops to the bench. Jesse Barber out of the squad entirely. And in come Lucas Burns and McCare, Ilya Shalamanov-Trenkov, Alex Baker, Dane Milovanovic, Aman Homkamis, Daniel Edwards, Charlie Leach, Fraser Dunlop, Jackson Courtney Perkins, and Emmanuel Peters, who scored twice last week, all retain their places. We'll just pause for a moment's silence. Well, John Anastasiadis' Heidelberg United visit JL Murphy Reserve, a ground they haven't won at since 2019 in the league. They haven't beat the Sharks since 2021. But looking to demonstrate their title credentials once again. They've had an undefeated start to the year, draws against two of the top sides in South Melbourne and the Oakley Cannons. And they make one big change from the side who finished all square against Hellas last week. Josh Pinn, the goal scorer, scored a spectacular curler from outside the penalty area. He's out of the squad entirely, and we've seen him limp to the bench pre-match, so we assume that's injury related. In comes Anthony Lesiotis. By no means a like-for-like change, but you'd imagine Kane Shepherd will take that number 9 role up front. Yaron Souza starts between the sticks. Back four of Jamal Ali, Ben Collins, Aiden Fetahajic, and Asahi Yokokawa. Mohamed Aidara and Adrian Zara man the midfield, with Nicholas Olsen and Leo Marzis flanking Kane Shepherd up front, and Anthony Lesiotis will come into the midfield mix as well. Dom Fowler returns to the bench, alongside Owen Ashton, Dion Nicolaitis, Johnny Apostolopoulos, Sean Ellis, and Ryan Govan. My name is Josh Parrish, and it's time to welcome Mark Ivkovic to the call. Ivka, welcome, mate.
Thanks, Josh. Should be a cracker tonight. Big opportunity for both sides. Really, that can, depending on how the other results go this evening, either side could be on top of the table if they get the 3 points tonight. So, massive out for Heidelberg with Josh Pinn out, but I think it might be a blessing in disguise for Heidelberg. I think Kane Shepherd will be licking his lips going back into that 9 position and will want to take it with both hands. So, it's a big opportunity for Shepherd to get on the score sheet tonight.
Oh, we're about to get started. Heidelberg in their trademark yellow and black, kicking from left to right. They'll have the kick-off. Port Melbourne in the blue and red. And we're away at JL Murphy. It's been an off-season of change and turmoil for Port Melbourne after the departure of their head coach Adam Pittock, but Nick Marinos has injected youth into this side, and they've already collected a couple of impressive scalps, beating the Knights away from home at Summers Street. Last week's 3-0 demolition of Manningham United just goes to show the punch that they can pack going forward. And that result last week, Ivka, looks even more impressive when you consider that Manningham have knocked off Avondale today.
Yeah, 100%. You'd think it was just a routine win, but obviously Manningham is no easy beat with their result today. Just you'll find that with the young side, though, a bit of inconsistency. You know, that performance against Knights they were unbelievable that night, and then they go and lose 4-0 to Hume City. So tonight's a big test for Nick Marinos' side to see if they can continue that consistency. They've been good at home so far this season on this beautiful pitch that they've presented at JL Murphy.
Yes, this surface is looking absolutely pristine. It's Heidelberg break forward through Aidara, who gets it back off Shepherd. Slid out wide for Leo Marzis. Marzis going at McCare. Manholm Karmas clears his lines, rather. This is Jamal Ali. Aidara. Nick Olsen running into traffic against Daniel Edwards and couldn't get a clean touch on it. And Emmanuel Peters, you can see, has been given the nod to start up front through the middle after 2 goals last week. On his day, a devastating attacking player. But you never quite know what you're going to get with Emmanuel Peters. Aidara for Olsen. Twisting this way and that and jinking away from Edwards. Low ball into the area is fed out to Jamal Ali. Already this game has settled into a bit of a pattern with Heidelberg dominating possession.
It's been a bit of a female season for Heidelberg. JA's really stamped his authority on this side and the way he likes to play football. I think people forget just how good JA's Bentley side was before he departed to the A-League. They were by far the most unplayable team in the competition during that era that he was the head coach there. They had so much movement, and really he was ahead of his time, JA, when he was coaching at Bentley. Just the possession football that he implemented there. People just forgot about his ability, or how well he can play football when he went into the wilderness, really, as an assistant in the A-League.
Yeah, we wax lyrical about Avondale these days. Well, not today, but usually. But Bentley were the benchmark for so long.
Yeah, Jay is the OG of possession football at NPL level.
Ali, just the wrong side of the last defender. Alex Baker will take this free kick. It's been freshly watered, this pitch. You can see the dew just skimming off it as Karmas skips past his opponents. Heidelberg pressing high, and Ali gets a foot in not once but twice. Olsen turning away from McCare. Nick Olsen lining one up from a long way out, but it's blocked. Leo Marzis will see it out for a throw. Adrian Zara, 234 NPL Victoria appearances. Synonymous with Heidelberg, but a lot of people forget 2015 and 16 he was here at Port Melbourne. That's turned over. Emmanuel Peters trying to break. Excellent work from Idara, the reaction time and counter press, as they call it these days.
I'd say 200 of those appearances would all have been in different positions, Josh. Left back, right back, centre back, up front. He's played everywhere, Adrian Zara.
He's playing wide on the left today. Left back, perhaps. This is Yokokawa. Whistle goes against Port Melbourne for an earlier foul. Thought the referee might have played advantage there with Yokokawa streaking away. Maybe he just lost possession.
Yeah, I think he didn't realise that he was away there.
Feta Hadzic, short to Yaron Souza. Collins. Olsen. Lesiotis. Marzis slips it through. Idara cutting it back to the 6-yard box. Port Melbourne with a timely intervention. Olsen. Heidelberg building nicely here. Lesiotis appealing for a free kick. Play goes on through Feta Hadzic. He punches it through the lines, but wrong foot's Leo Marzis, and it trickles through the Port Melbourne goalkeeper, Ilya Shalamanov-Trenkov. What have you made of Port Melbourne's start to the season, Ifka? Quite a few eye-catching results, and then a few pretty ordinary reverses as well. It's been pretty inconsistent.
Look, if I'm completely honest, I didn't give him a chance to be competitive at all when I saw, you know, the major turnover in squad. No disrespect to the players that came in or Nick Marinos as a coach, but, you know.
Here's Shepherd. And Heidelberg are in! Yokokawa with his second of the season. And in a flash, Heidelberg cut through the Port Melbourne backline and take a deserved early lead.
There you go, Josh. I said it was a blessing in disguise that Josh Pinn was out of the squad tonight because of Shepherd being able to play as the 9, and that's a perfect example of what Kane Shepherd can do. Just came a little bit short and caught the Port Melbourne defence off guard. Great finish in the end as well.
Well, it wasn't as spectacular as his first of the season against Altona, but Asahi Yokokawa will take that all the same. Slotted very confidently into the bottom corner. And that off-season recruit looks to be a winner already for John Anastasiadis. Came across from Albirex Nagata in Singapore. He's taken to NPL Victoria like a duck to water. Courtney Perkins couldn't play at that, would have been offside. Ali squares to Collins. Collins digs it out to Zara.
Yeah, as I was saying about Port Melbourne, Josh, wasn't giving them much of a chance, and I've watched them play a few times this season. And I've been pleasantly surprised. They're a very well organised team, and you can see that it's a unit, and Marinos has really got them playing some good football. As I said earlier, they're going to be inconsistent with the youth that they've got in their team, but you can't forget what Nick Marinos has done at youth level over the last 3 or 4 years. He's dominated the under-23s competition.
Peters charging down Collins, and he was streaking through on goal. But he's been penalised for handball. Nick Marinos and Johnny Anastasiadis, no love lost on the sideline there. Tempers just bubbling early. Here we go, Yokokawa again, gliding through, brought down by Karmas. No. Oh, my instinct was foul.
Mine too.
Maybe you got a touch on the ball there, Emmanuel Karmas. Referee in a much better position than we are, of course. Ali. Short for Shepherd. Dropping deep off the front line. Olsen has Baker on his back, but Alex Baker can't make it count. Yokokawa has been outstanding so far. He picks out Leo Marzis. Cuts it in field. Kane Shepherd just wide. It was flowing football from Heidelberg again. They are looking fearsome when they win the ball.
Big chance there, Josh. Ball just got stuck under Shepherd's foot. It was half a yard back. Probably would have been able to hit that a bit better.
Courtney Perkins skips in field. Chips one into a channel for the speedy Emmanuel Peters, who's onside. Peters has the beating of Collins, and a big shout for a spot kick. The referee uninterested in that one. Big moment in this game. Heidelberg making headway in the other direction.
It's a big call there, Josh. I thought that was a penalty. Clear push in the back in Peters. Very silly from Ben Collins.
Collins perhaps got away with one there.
That's going to rev up Nick Marinos a little bit more on the touchline, I think.
Well, it just shows how dangerous Emmanuel Peters is. Firstly, he had the burst of acceleration to get in behind, and then the agility and skill as Courtney Perkins brings one down off his chest. Yaron Souza was well off his line. But Jackson Courtney Perkins can't scoop it into an unguarded net. Huge chance for Port Melbourne again.
He's got to do better there, Josh. He's one of the most experienced players in the squad now, Courtney Perkins. You're not going to get too many chances against this Heidelberg side tonight.
There might be another one on here. Courtney Perkins, well marshalled by Collins. Don't take your eyes off this one for a second. There's just been chance after chance at both ends. Absolutely riveting so far.
I don't know what Souza was thinking. Could have come off his line to get that. Wouldn't have been a back pass if he came out for it, but he must have got confused there. Just stayed on his line.
We never quite know what a back pass is this season.
Fair point.
Baker just clipping the heels of Olsen. Probably a good foul.
Courtney Perkins has to finish that. It's a golden chance.
Absolutely glaring miss. Just as we thought Heidelberg were flexing their muscle and establishing their superiority in this contest, Port Melbourne have had 2 huge chances, a massive penalty shout. An enormous opportunity for an equaliser going begging. Yokokawa collected at full tilts by Karmas, and he will get the whistle this time. Does Karmas go into the book here? Heidelberg want a yellow card.
They've settled well, Port Melbourne, after conceding the goal. I would have thought Heidelberg would have kept on steamrolling them, but they've found their groove now, getting back into the game. They do have a lot of pace up top, Josh. That's what's going to cause Heidelberg a lot of headaches tonight.
Quickly taken restart. I have to say, I've been mighty impressed with Yokokawa so far. He's playing in a little inside left channel, and every time he receives the ball in the half turn, he's away in a flash.
That's what the technical abilities of the Japanese players have, Josh. Read the game so well, quick on the turn as well, know how to utilise the space correctly.
Yokokawa's short corner. Idara spins to the byline. Collins missed it. Can Olsen make significant contact? He can't. And it's a long-range try from Lesiotis that flies wide. Big chance for Ben Collins there.
Massive chance. Always been a huge critic of the short corner, but that was a well-worked routine.
It was a brilliant little spin from Mohamed Idara. You expected him to cut it back to the top of the box, and he fooled everybody. Idara again. Olsen. Little clip ball looking for Shepherd. Laid off. Yokokawa. Great save, Ilya Shilamanov-Trenkov.
That's a world-class save.
After a bit of world-class combination play, if you don't mind. Well, Port Melbourne's 6'5" goalkeeper keeps his side in the hunt.
He's been hugely impressive this season. For Port Melbourne, he's kept him in some games as well, and he's keeping him in this one. But you're right, that was a world-class build-up play. Some ball from Olsen. Brought down well by Shepherd, deserved to go in the back of the net.
Kane Shepherd seems to be just relishing his opportunities as a back-to-goal playmaker in this game. Comes back to him playing as that back-to-goal number 9.
I can't understand the methodology of putting Pin as the 9. He's explosive, he's powerful, and Shepherd is very good technically and can play in that hole, but this is where Shepherd is his most dangerous.
Olsen. Well, it's a good problem to have. One of those champagne problems for Johnny A. Yokokawa. Unselfish option when perhaps a shot could have been on. Olsen clips it to the back stick. McCare, Marzis, and the shot was blocked by his own teammate there. Jamal Ali, who was in an offside position.
Olsen's also been mightily impressive so far tonight.
You see a flame-haired, left-footed winger drifting in from the right. And you see him in a Heidelberg jersey and you think Sean Ellis, but no, it's Nicholas Olsen doing a very good Sean Ellis impression, which is the highest praise I can give him.
Very, very similar type of player. Sean Ellis is getting on a little bit now. Just a big part player last season and probably this season as well. But Olsen just taking the game by storm.
Ellis scored his 50th NPL goal for Heidelberg against Green Gully a couple of weeks ago. Sits on the bench today, but I'm sure he'll make his presence felt in fits and starts and cameo appearances this season. Probably the ideal role for him at this point. Zara. Idara. Fired in by Lesiotis to Olsen. Jamal Ali. Olsen's in swinger. That's going to be easy money for Shilamanov-Trenkov. This One thing they've done well so far, Heidelberg, is not rely on too many lofted crosses, because when the goalkeeper has that sort of reach, you're not going to have much joy. Collins. Olsen back to Ali.
This is where Port Melbourne needs to really press high. Saw last week South Melbourne do it at times, and Heidelberg coughed the ball up a number of times.
Almost coughed it up here. Jamal Ali riding his luck a touch there, but a few protests from the Port Melbourne bench. Collins. Great switch. Marzis. Yokokawa. Now Zara on the overlap. His early delivery is floated straight into the arms of Shalamanov-Trenkov, but again, good play from Heidelberg to open up the pitch.
So it's going to take time with Heidelberg and the style they want to play. Ben Collins has played this style of football most of his career, but Fedor Hadzic, Zara and Jamal Ali, they're not really ball-playing defensive players. So when the pressure does come, and obviously the mandate is to retain possession, they do cough it up a little bit until they get used to it.
Yeah, it's quite a big change going from George Katsakis to Johnny A. Emmanuel Peters again has his arms spread wide, asking the question. Cannot believe the whistle hasn't gone in his favour there. Nick Marinos making his thoughts clear as well to the fourth official. Here goes Nick Olsen. Has Shepherd in the middle. Olsen. Great cross off Karmas. Edwards is going to keep this in. They play their way out, Port Melbourne, very coolly. Peters, first time layoff is off target. Again, he wants a free kick there, but the first touch just wasn't good enough.
It's a bit isolated up top as well at the moment, Peters. Courtney Perkins is in a little bit too deep at times.
Peters, when he back off Lesiotis, he can't find Edwards. Idara. Lesiotis thought he was clipped. Fedor Hadzic. Zara. Marzis has his pocket picked. But Port Melbourne can't keep it for long. Yokokawa finds the feet of Shepherd. Dane Milovanovic across in time to clear. Courtney Perkins, can he start the break? Well, he nutmegged Jamal Ali. Ali says, what, who, me? The referee says, yes, you.
I love those situations where the player just won't accept that he's fouled someone. Very obvious.
I think if you get Meg like that, Jamal, you just got to accept it.
Yep.
McKay. Wasted ball looking for Burns. Rather, it was Fraser Dunlop, in fact, who got up from right wing back. Well, they've kept a bit of consistency with this 3-4-3 formation that Adam Piddick brought to the club. Edwards reads it in the air. Courtney Perkins. Idara on the slide, and Port Melbourne win their first corner of the game. One advantage of having three centre-backs. You've got three pretty tall targets off set pieces.
Edwards as well, one of the best set-piece deliverers in the competition.
Well, that's an interesting little signal. The ball over the head. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. And two arms in the air. To the back post, headed goalwards by Karmas. Enough Heidelberg bodies in the way to clear the danger. Yokokawa couldn't get it away. Spin from Courtney Perkins. Referee waves away another appeal for a spot kick. It was right on the edge of the area. McCare flying in. And he's brought down from behind. Port Melbourne free kick. Assistant on the far side was flagging.
Pretty physical game at the moment, Josh, isn't it? Tackles flying in left, right and centre.
Tempers brewing on the bench as well. I feel like we might see some spicy challenges in the second half if this continues. It's going to be Lucas Burns, a former Western United youngster, over the free kick. Spent some time at Melbourne City as well. McCare, Peters, Baker, Karmas, Milovanovic all forward. But Souza gets a fingertip on it.
It's been another key addition by Johnny Anastasiadis, Yaron Souza. A lot of experience in goals.
Played at A-League level for the Central Coast Mariners. Spent some time in Malta as well. With Dandenong Thunder here in Victoria. Peters. Great skill. It's going to be a goal kick. Can't say I agree there, Rivka. Looked like it came off a Heidelberg player, but again, referee's in a better position than we are.
Yeah, well would we know, Josh? Two schmucks up in the commentary box. But Heidelberg's got to be a bit careful defending their penalty box, because two dubious calls going against Port Melbourne. You feel like any kind of contact in the box, the pressure is going to really start getting to the referee as well, with how much the Port Melbourne staff and players are screaming for these fouls.
Closing down from Burns, goal kick only.
It's another example of how Heidelberg can be pressed high.
Another factor, even though Heidelberg of course have the lead, is they've got the wind in this first half, and it's a significant wind as well, blowing towards Port Melbourne's goal. Ali. Shepherd. Olsen would have been offside. Yokokawa's ball around the corner was off target anyway. Is there a little back pass there from Aman Home Karmas?
Just a poor touch, I think, Josh.
Certainly what Heidelberg are appealing for. Idara. It's off Courtney Perkins. Charlie Leach can't reel it in. Lesiotis, coolly done. Zara. Spotting Marzis on the left. Leo Marzis up against Alex Baker. Knocks it back to Anthony Lesiotis. Ali feeds it down the line. Idara. Olsen. Nicholas Olsen looking for a runner. Finds one in Yokokawa. Takes a slightly heavy touch inside, but he's kept it alive. Ali fires it across the box. Port Melbourne deal with the danger. Edwards. Charlie Leach helping it on. Courtney Perkins. Now they can open up the pitch. Here come Port Melbourne through Lucas Burns. Zara got a toe to the ball. Burns sliding in, concedes the throw. End-to-end action.
It's great defending there from Zara. Just held his ground, showed his experience there.
Don't mind him as a left back, I have to say.
Don't mind him at all as a left back.
I think Yokokawa was playing left back in one of the earlier games, certainly starting that position, and I do like Adrian Zara. There it gives Yokokawa a bit more freedom to go forward. And well, they don't really have a natural left footer on the left-hand side, but it doesn't seem to matter.
Well, he's got the experience to read the game. He's a physical player as well, Zara, but then when they do break, you know, you've got that attacking ability that he's got.
Step inside, make an extra number in midfield, as so many teams like to do these days. That ball holds up in the breeze from Shalamanov-Trenkov. Imagine in the second half you'll see a lot more balls over the top for Peters to chase. They just can't get the distance on them at the moment.
It is a strong win.
Olsen putting the pressure on Karmas. Shepherd keeps it away from Milovanovic. Olsen, chance to cross if he wants to. It's allowed to bounce, but harmlessly behind for a goal kick.
Tempo's died down a little bit in the last 5 minutes, you'd say, Josh. Both sides all guns blazing the opening 20-25 minutes.
Wind's really picked up as well, as you can probably hear on our Vex mic. Veda Hadjic. Lucas Burns. One for Peters. Snuffed out by Adrian Zara, who followed him all the way inside. Zara for Collins. Shepherd off the shoulder. Nice touch for Olsen. He's looking for the return, but Dane Milovanovic equal to it. Leach just had his shins chopped by Leo Marzis there. Port Melbourne get a pressure relieving free kick. Karmas.
Big unit, Karmas.
I have to say I was very impressed with him and his efforts in keeping Moreland City up last season. He came in second half of the year and he was an absolute tower of strength in a backline that was absorbing pressure every week and having to basically barricade the 18-yard box. Now he's being asked to do a bit more with the ball and play in a team that is able to attack and play on the front foot much more often, so interesting test for him, but he's certainly got the defensive qualities that Port Melbourne need.
He's very confident as well, very vocal on the pitch, playing on the broadcast side.
Edwards finds Peters. Leach. Charlie Leach bursts away from pressure and returns the ball to Peters. Now Courtney Perkins 1v1. He was offside when he really shouldn't have been. That's a coach killer, that one.
If I hate short corners, Josh, that's probably my second hate is those type of offsides. You've got the momentum, you're breaking, you've got the defence under pressure, and it's such a lazy thing to do as a player.
You should be able to see right across the line as well when you're in that position.
Yeah, you've got to have more game awareness.
That switch, it's not one that Zara can keep alive. McKay back with Karmas. He'll be forced back to his goalkeeper. Setting sun starts to blind us here at JL Murphy. Good ball from Karmas. Courtney Perkins onside this time. Has Edwards in support, and he should have used him. Tried to skip past Ali. Jamal Ali got a foot in, knocked it off his shins and behind for a goal kick. Port Melbourne had the numbers there.
Yeah, Edwards is in great position. Can't blame Courtney Perkins for wanting to go direct. But I think Edwards was the better option in that situation.
Really absorbing contest so far. 34 minutes played at JL Murphy. Heidelberg a goal to the good thanks to Asahi Yokokawa after he was slid through on goal by Kane Shepherd. Heidelberg, despite some really impressive play in the opening 20 minutes or so, haven't had it all their own way. Can they sting Port Melbourne on the break? Shepherd back with Idara. Port Melbourne have the numerical advantage now, so Heidelberg will try and keep it. Idara struggling with maybe a shoulder or a neck problem. Zara, Yokokawa. Accurate ball out to Marzis. Good challenge from Baker. Mark, would you put Heidelberg straight into title contention this season?
Yeah, I would, Josh. You can't discount the JA factor. And they're such a knowledgeable coach, and I think the squad is perfectly set up. Really, you've got two strong centre backs, a good midfield, Kane Shepherd, Josh Pin when he's available. It's a really, really strong 11 that they've put together, mostly towards the back end of last year when Ali and Idara came across. They were massive signings for Heidelberg, and they finished the season very strongly. You know, and then JA coming in the off season. You know, you feel like Heidelberg's always thereabouts. Been impressed with the football they've played so far, and they're only going to get better.
I'm just stunned in it, very much in a good way, of how quickly this playing style has been bedded in by a new coach. My, I guess, knock on them in pre-season was how are they going to completely unlearn all of the habits that they had under George Katsakis and play a miles different style of football, but players all seem to be enjoying it. Even the players who were here last season have really adopted these new principles with vigour. Shalamanov Trenkov gave one away there. Olsen would have been offside. Shepherd didn't quite have the pace to latch onto the loose ball.
Well, the benefit Anastasiad has had is that it's mostly the same squad from last season, and he had 3 months to work with them.
Zara. Promising area for Heidelberg. It's Shepherd on the spin. Cannons off the nearest defender. Heidelberg just pinged for handball there.
Like we said, they can go top with a win tonight, Josh, after Avondale's shock loss today.
Massive for the Burgers if they can reach the top of the tree after a couple of lean years. Early cross-field ball out to Edwards. Dan Edwards, little back here was a nice idea for Leach, but it didn't quite come off.
By all reports, Josh, I think we might be seeing George Katsakis back in the coaching ranks. Tipped to get the Bentley job in the next couple of days.
Yeah, that's the rumour certainly around the traps. David Chick stepping away from his duties as Bentley coach, as it was announced this morning. Finished on a high after a 3-2 win over Preston Lions in the 96th minute. Courtney Perkins in a bit of space here. He's got Peters in the middle. Courtney Perkins. Cross was overhit. Now Fraser Dunlop. Knocks it back to Baker. Square ball to McCare. Finds Lucas Burns. Little chip. Well, not sure if you heard that on the broadcast, but Nick Marinos not best impressed with that effort from Lucas Burns. I think it was a cross. Give him the benefit of the doubt and say he wasn't trying to chip Yaron Souza from the wing.
Say it's a wind-affected cross.
Not to go on about it, but it is mighty blustery up here in the broadcast position, and you imagine it's affecting players on the field as well. Burns. Port Melbourne winning it back high again. Burns hitting the deck. Only a half-hearted appeal for a penalty. Baker. McCare. Leach will have to chase this down. Olsen's ahead of him. And now Olsen. Brilliant juggle and flick over the top for Kane Shepherd. Shepherd has Marzis at the back post, can't find him. That was eye-catching stuff from Nicholas Olsen.
That was a great ball. Shepherd just needed to take his first touch towards goal. He would have been off.
Ali. Great feat to get past the sliding challenge of Edwards. Marzis wants it wide. He will get it eventually, Leo Marzis. And he'll keep it in. Cut back to Idara. Marzis off the outside of the boot. Now Leach taking too long in possession. Heidelberg knocking it around confidently. Lesiotis. Marzis, who stayed on the right flank. Lesiotis, Yokokawa. I think the referee saw through that rather transparent effort to buy a free kick.
So I have to say, I'm glad Nick Marinos not wearing an Apple Watch on the touchline. I think it would explode with the heart rate monitor. Very passionate coach, Nick Marinos.
Emmanuel Peters, again, not impressed with the referee. Here we go, early substitution.
Yeah, not the first time we've seen it this season from Marinos, Josh. Made the double sub after 25 minutes at Hume.
Don't think it's injury related based on the reaction from Fraser Dunlop. And Mark Latsis makes an early entrance. Before half time as well.
Yeah, as I said, Josh, not the first time he's done it. He's very sure of himself, Nick Marinos. He knows what he wants, and when his players aren't giving it to him, what he's demanding, doesn't matter what time of the game it is, enough's enough for him.
So that's a yellow card that's come out, I think, for Dane Milovanovic, and it must have been for something he said. Latsis did score last week against Manningham, so I was a little surprised to see him on the bench today, albeit as a substitute. And he's straight into the action, and he's brought down. Advantage paid to Port Melbourne. It's drifted agonisingly across the face of goal. And Mark Latzis still in some pain.
That's a heavy challenge.
Oh, we hope it's nothing serious for Mark Latzis. He's got an injury history with a really horrific leg break he suffered for Kingston City against Melbourne Victory a couple of seasons ago. A yellow card for Aiden Feta-Harjic for the challenge.
It's a very heavy challenge.
A real concern for Latzis. And he's only just come on. It was his first touch off the bench. Port Melbourne will be in all sorts of trouble if they've just brought off their right wing back. Like for like change, and then he's off injured straight away.
He's okay, Josh.
That's good to see. Way he went down, and with the injuries in his past, you just fear the worst. It was a real hospital ball from Yaron Souza out to Adrian Zara. He probably should have just let it run out for a throw-in, but the attempt to keep it in play gave it straight to Mark Latzis. He's been absolutely scythed down there. Port Melbourne rightly awarded the advantage, and was agonisingly close from Lucas Burns. Deflected cross off Lesiotis, and it almost trickled in.
2 minutes of added time, Josh.
Very eventful first half, to say the least. We've had penalty appeals. We've had drama between the benches. We've had chances galore.
Nearly substitutions.
Yeah. It's quite a statement to not use your free substitution window at halftime. Here's Emmanuel Peters from way outside. Emmanuel Peters, pick that one out. It's 3 goals in 2 weeks, and he runs straight to Nick Marinos to celebrate.
What a finish. From distance, Peters backed himself. Souza will be disappointed not to save that one. A great strike from Peters.
Souza absolutely furious with himself. The drink bottle's gone flying. It looked speculative as it came off the boot, but the placement was perfect and the bounce was kind. And Port Melbourne are level in the shadows of half-time.
Nick DeBono's having the time of his life today, manning a 3-0 win, and Emmanuel Peters scoring a screamer. Party at Nick's house tonight.
DeBono brand going from strength to strength. Apologies to our listeners who don't listen to the NPL Victoria podcast.
If you don't, get on it.
Thanks for the plug, Ivka. Shepherd for Lesiotis. Marzis. Yokokawa. Cuts it back for Shepherd. Peters. On for Lucas Burns. Peters chasing down a lost cause here. Souza keeps his cool.
To say, Port Melbourne feel like that's a deserved equaliser. Heidelberg, yes, they've probably had the better of the play, probably slightly better chances as well, but Port Melbourne's given as good as they've got. They've had their gilt-edged chances themselves.
Well, the moment Heidelberg scored, it was a richly deserved lead, but The way that the Sharks have come back into the contest, mighty impressive indeed. Here's Adrian Zara. Yokokawa with a bit of room to cross. It's long, it's high, it's too high. And that will be half-time. And don't take your eyes off this one in the second half. There's been something for everyone. There's been a bit of everything here in round 6 at JL Murphy Reserve. And 2 splendid goals for very different reasons. Slick team move. Kane Shepherd sliding Asahi Yokokawa through on goal. As Heidelberg hit the front. Truly impressive, quick passing exchanges, showing off the style of football that Johnny Anastasiadis has embedded in his first season as Heidelberg United head coach. But Port Melbourne have been good value for their equaliser. They've fought back into the contest. Had a number of near misses and a couple of penalty shouts. But finally it was Emmanuel Peters from a long, long way out who scores his 3rd goal in the space of 2 weeks. And it's 1-1 at the break. Mark Ivkovic, your assessment?
Yeah, look, it was billed as the game of the round, and it's lived up to the hype. End-to-end action. I think 1-1 is probably the fair result going into the half-time break. It's anyone's ball game, really. Heidelberg probably just switched off the last 15 minutes of that first half. They'll be disappointed with themselves that they didn't kick on with the lead and gone a bit further in front. But all to play for in the second half.
Well, stay with us. A lot on the line today. Can Heidelberg United go top of the pile here in NPL Victoria? Or will Port Melbourne Sharks pull off another impressive scalp? Stay tuned on the NPL Victoria live stream. The halftime score at JL Murphy. Port Melbourne Sharks 1, Heidelberg United 1. Welcome back to JL Murphy Reserve for the second half, round 6 here in NPL Victoria. It is Heidelberg United 1, Port Melbourne Sharks 1, and the Burgers have gone for a half-time change. Off comes Jamal Ali, Johnny Apostolopoulos into the mix. Straight swap at right back. Mark, do you think that's tactical or injury enforced?
Possibly tactical. You know, we watched that goal back at half-time, Josh, and Ali was at fault for it, and he did make a few turnovers in that first half, so possibly could be a tactical change. Didn't look like he was injured in the first half.
Well, both coaches have swapped their right backs. Although Port Melbourne didn't wait till half-time to do that. Fraser Dunlop withdrawn in about the 42nd minute. On comes Mark Latzis, so Nick Marinos sending a message to his players. Shortly afterwards, they got the equalising goal, so Port Melbourne looking to build on how they finished that half. Heidelberg looking to recapture what they did in the first 20 minutes. And it's the Burgers on the way forward here through Leo Marzes, cuts it back, Kane Shepherd. Has Lesiotis in support. Recycled by Idara. First touch for Johnny Apostolopoulos, former Northcote player. Little triangle with Olsen. Lesiotis, hooked away by Charlie Leach. Lesiotis finds Idara. Great balance and technique from Mo Idara. Olsen somehow keeps it alive. Second time this afternoon or this evening he's shown off his juggling skills. Apostolopoulos' pass is intercepted. If you're just joining us, it's been a very entertaining contest thus far. Plenty happening on and off the field. Milovanovic disguises the ball into Peters, but Ben Collins was right on his backside there. Latzis. That clearance falls short from Souza, and Heidelberg will have to deal with the wind in this second half, although it has died down a little bit at the break. Burns throwing the step-overs and jinking past Adrian Zara, who goes into the book. Fouled just outside the box.
Yeah, he got the better of him there. Dangerous position for Port Melbourne. Tough place to take a free kick from though. You can't really shoot from that angle. And your cross is kind of, it's got to be very well hit.
Well, I know you don't like short corners, Mark, but maybe a short free kick.
Yes, I'll take a short free kick in this position, Josh.
There's two standing over it. Edwards, you know, he's got a great left foot. He's going to be Edwards. Stink to the back post. Goalkeeper underneath it, gets a palm to it. Yaron Souza. Apostolopoulos knocks it into space. Shepherd wrestling for it. Alex Baker retreating and cleans up any possibility of a counter-attack.
He's not happy, Shepherd. Saw him come over to the fourth official just before half-time, complaining about continually being held, and was held up again there, no foul given.
It's Milovanovic on the ball. Apologies for the setting sun in the camera. We'll try and keep you as informed as we can. No flag against Latzis. That's a great ball. Two in the area to aim for. Courtney Perkins coming in. And he's cleaned up the goalkeeper. Yaron Souza got there first and has paid a heavy price for it. Both players down in pain. And words exchanged between Peters and Feta Hadjic. Referee trying to calm tempers. Karmas right on the scene as well. Trying to shepherd Emmanuel Peters away from the dispute.
You've got to say, Josh, Nick Marinos has been vindicated in bringing Latsis on just before half-time. He's really injected some life into Port Melbourne's attack.
Well, hasn't been on the park long, but already a couple of eye-catching forward forays from Latsis, who scored last week. Zara really under the cosh here. Latsis wins it back. The low ball into Courtney Perkins doesn't get there. Gee, that was a great opening for Port Melbourne.
Latsis is a lot more direct, pressing high on Zara. Obviously, that's what Marinos wanted from Fraser Dunlop and wasn't getting it. And said if you do press this Heidelberg defence, they are suspect to making errors.
It's a short corner. Edwards. High switch. Helped across goal by Amanhom Kamis, and it ends up on the roof of the net.
Well, Josh, that's why short corners are pointless.
Got to say, there's a lot of long corners that don't do anything for you as well.
That's true. Manningham did score from a short corner today as well against Avondale.
I seem to remember Heidelberg generating a decent attacking chance off their short corner in the first half, so not entirely without merit, but Mark Ivkovic's one-man war against unconventional set pieces continues.
Yeah, one well-worked short corner out of 300. It's not going to change my mind.
Zara.
Well, Port Melbourne's really stepped on early in the second half. Squeezed this Heidelberg defence and gets the right move from Nick Marinos. Heidelberg's barely gotten into their attacking half.
It's been all Sharky so far. McCare. Courtney Perkins. And now Emmanuel Peters. And it almost dropped in. Well, Heidelberg, with some desperation defending on their own goal line. Aiden Federhajic got his body in the way. Emmanuel Peters had his efforts smothered by Yaron Souza, but not entirely. Oh, late challenge flying in from Lesiotis. Advantage paid. Peters feeding it through, looking for Courtney Perkins. It didn't quite connect.
That was great goalkeeping from Souza. Had the reaction to get off his line in a split second and make that smothering save.
Nearly looped into the goal regardless, if not for the efforts of his central defender. McCare. Courtney Perkins finds Peters. The Sharks really on the attack right now. Port Melbourne cough it up there though. Can Heidelberg land a sucker punch here in transition? Kane Shepherd. They've got numbers. Marzis. Back to Shepherd. Kane Shepherd! That's what he does best. Kane Shepherd buries it in the corner and gives Heidelberg back the lead.
Well, the real estate king goes bang. But, we called it, or I called it before the game started, Josh, that's where Shepherd needs to be playing as the 9, and that's, he's so good at that. On the turn, that's Kane Shepherd 101 there.
It's been a yellow card that's come out after that. Don't know if it was an incredibly belated card for Lesiotis' earlier challenge or something he said, but I think that's Anthony Lesiotis into the book. And that is Kane Shepherd's first of the season. He's off the mark in 2024.
That's a Kane Shepherd classic, that one. Off the half step, left foot into the bottom corner. Not many players in the competition can finish as good as Kane Shepherd.
Oh, Marzis and Baker getting into it off the ball. Alex Baker is booked.
That's just stupidity, Josh. That tackle is... I don't know what's going through his mind there to bring him down like that.
Johnny A was about to sub himself on there. He's on the pitch.
I'll be shocked if it's 11 v 11 come the end of the game, Josh.
It's been a tasty one, hasn't it?
Yeah, tempers are flaring.
We're talking about Shepherd. That's just his trademark, getting the ball sort of 90-degree angle and hooking it left-footed into the corner. And now Heidelberg are in again. Marzis is offside. Decent reflex stop with the foot from Shalamwanov-Trenkov, but it wouldn't have counted.
Yeah, just straight offside. It's a great pass. Jeez, and poor Melbourne had a few chances there early in the second half, and then against the run of play, Heidelberg just goes bang.
This is Courtney Perkins. Edwards. Dan Edwards. That misses everybody. Misses the box entirely, in fact. Goal kick. Below his usual standards with his left-footed deliveries that are among the best in the comp. More changes coming. This is going to be Dom Fowler, who's back on the bench this week. And after his yellow card, Anthony Lesiotis is withdrawn.
Probably the right move by Anastasiadis. It's been a very physical game. A lot of it played in transition. Can't risk getting one of your central midfielders sent off.
Well, neither of these sides have gone down to 10 men so far this season. Perhaps Lesiotis looked among the more likely to pick up a second booking. Spin from Leach. He finds Courtney Perkins, who has his pocket picked by Ben Collins. Full-time challenge. Dom Fowler, collected late perhaps, no. Play goes on. Idara. Olsen. Nick Olsen ran out of real estate. Maybe you can ask Kane Shepherd for some assistance in that department.
Not bad, Josh. Jeez.
That's a late tackle. Advantage. See if Corey Gadirian comes back to that one.
Just about to sing his praises, Nick Olsen. He's probably been the best player in the park tonight.
Bit of a reducer flying in there. It's all smiles and handshakes, but he's going to get a yellow ticket anyway. Nice spin from Burns. Ball ricochets out to Leach. Idara. Fluff clearance, and now Edwards. A snapshot off the right boot. Yaron Souza was sprawling. Just off the mark.
Another turnover from the Heidelberg defence. I agree with the retaining possession methodology in playing football, but sometimes there's a time and place for it, Josh. You can't always just play out from the back. You know, when you're under severe pressure, just sometimes better just to clear your lines and try and win the second ball and steady the ship a little bit.
Oh, that's going to be Edwards' last contribution. Ethan Brooks out onto the left-hand side. Certainly more of a winger than a left back, Ethan Brooks. Sound like Edwards was too happy.
He's having a good game, to be honest, Josh.
Maybe an injury flare-up. Or another big call from the Port Melbourne boss. Edwards was captaining the side today. He had to give up the armbands. Late from Zara. He's got to be careful.
He's in trouble here. Yep.
And he's off. Adrian Zara, his second booking. And Heidelberg go down to 10 men for the first time this season. Well, we knew a red card was coming, Mark.
I was going to say a minute ago that when Lesiotis came off that Zara's the one that worries me, because Latsis said been giving him a headache for the last 20 minutes.
Marinos has gone into the book as well. Not sure what he's upset about. His opponents have just gone down to 10, but nevertheless, Port Melbourne.
Sorry, Josh.
You're just having another look at the challenge, Mark. It's an unnecessary one.
Oh, so unnecessary. Adrian Zara a bit disappointed in himself there. Their own throw-in, throws it back to Feta Hajic, who plays a hospital pass to Zara and just lunges his leg out. Completely unnecessary, running away from the goal.
Well, Heidelberg up against it now. They're a goal to the good. Melbourne's chance to reply off the set piece. Olsen still in a bit of bother. It's Lucas Burns who goes down, but he's not really appealing for the penalty. And Yaron Souza having an issue with the way he went down. Rory Gadirian across in time to break up any potential scuffle. It's like a boxing referee there.
He's got a point, so if you're not going to give the pen, he's obviously gone down easy there. Just surprised that they didn't bring on Dylan Nicolaides into that left back position. You could see that Latsis was really just trying to aggravate Zara into getting that second yellow. Felt like it was coming. Surprised they didn't see that and just pulled Zara off to keep it at 11 men on the park.
Well, Heidelberg, they scored with pretty much their only attack of this half. Port Melbourne have been turning the screw, and now they're a man to the good. Still a 1-goal deficit to haul in, but this is a huge opportunity here for the Sharks.
Massive opportunity. Long time to go. Still another half an hour to be played. I feel they've been a much better team in the second half too, despite the scoreline.
Massive test for the Burgers. They're bona fides. McKay flips it into Peters, the goal scorer. Closely marshalled by Collins again. Yokokawa goes over, no whistle. Peters wrestling with Collins. The referee says 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. He's played advantage to Heidelberg there for the drag back on Ben Collins, given Yaron Souza had the ball anyway. Olsen, it's an emergency left back. Feta Hajic, his clearance is charged down. Latsis, Burns. Little Cruyff turn in field. Now tries to force his way through a gap. Clean challenge. This is Idara. Held up by Burns. Little shirt tug and a pressure relieving free kick.
They're going to have to make a change here, Heidelberg. I can't see Olsen being able to play that left back role for half an hour. And plus they lose so much of his quality going forward as well.
I have to say it doesn't suit him. We've sung his praises in the first half, but as an inside-out right winger, it's a very different skill set. Quality when he gets the ball, though, and he's got a chance to pick out Yokokawa. Baker up against Shepherd. Into touch.
Josh, I could watch Olsen knock a 30-yard pass all day, every day. He's hit a pass like that, pinpoint probably about 5-6 times in this game. Super impressed with him.
It's been outstanding. This is Apostolopoulos. Up against Brooks. Ethan Brooks has the measure of him in terms of pace. Now Courtney Perkins trying to spring the other way. Collins across to cover. Well timed. Finally, we're mercifully greeted by the setting sun behind those buildings, and hopefully you can see the action to get it home. McCare.
Prada sunglasses did their job. Josh, shout out to Prada. After any sponsorship opportunities, hit me up. And MIFCA on Twitter. But Port Melbourne been licking their lips. They started off the second half so well. Kane Shepherd scored against the run of play, but it's been all Port Melbourne, and now with the man advantage, they'll back themselves to come home strong here. See Nick Marinos sitting with his coaching staff plotting it out.
Shepherd holds off his man and sprays one into space for Leo Marzis. Has Olsen up in support. Latsis well played. Burns went down under the challenge of Fowler. The referee says get back up. Puri Gadirian with the old Perry Murr. Up to your feet, son.
I think that was the right call, to be honest. I didn't see a foul in that.
I think you see that given a lot. I don't know if it is a foul. I actually like that call a lot from Puri Gadirian.
Yeah, I agree. Referees get sucked in by the yelling and the shouting from the players.
Just got to assess every situation on its merits and not by the the volume. Especially when it's right in front of the bench. It's easy to... Here's Baker. Leach. Manuel Peters. Holding off the Apostolopoulos. Now Dom Fowler. The timely intervention. Nowhere really for Heidelberg to go at the moment. May as well knock it back to their centre-backs. Yokokawa. Back with Collins now. Oh, Ben Collins. That was an ambitious ball and maybe not the right choice. Here goes Lucas Burns. It's a tense one. Dane Milovanovic lining one up. Well, he doesn't line them up as clean as Emmanuel Peters does.
Why not have a crack? There's only screamers scored at JL Murphy Reserve.
Latsis. Early deliveries. Easy pickings for Yaron Souza, who makes a save for the cameras and eats a few seconds. Souza restarts through Apostolopoulos. He's under pressure straight away. Port Melbourne win it back again. Can they make this count? Leach. Baker. Alex Baker fancies it. Oh, it flew off the boot. Well wide in the end, but that was travelling.
They're very good at hitting these shots from distance, aren't they?
Double change coming up. And we flagged it. Dion Nicolaitis, a homegrown hero for Heidelberg, is going to make an entrance, playing at left back. I think Nicholas Olsen is a victim of circumstance here. Kane Shepherd coming off as well.
There's another victim of circumstance as well, I think.
Well, two of Heidelberg's best to the bench, but needs must when it comes to playing with 10. Leo Marzis is going to play as the central striker.
He's got a lot more pace than Shepherd, Josh. I think they're not going to be able to create too much.
This is the situation where you really miss Josh Pinn.
Yeah. Yeah, spot on.
Arguably in the first half, Heidelberg were relishing having a back-to-goal link man. But now in the second, they've got a red card. Josh Pinn's injury-enforced absence. It's a real stinger. Here's Emmanuel Peters, speaking of pace to burn.
So dangerous, Peters, with those runs in behind.
It's been very lively today. Baker with Ellis. Very physical on Sean Ellis there. Maybe got away with one. Milovanovic. Well, that was the right ball. Didn't execute it for Courtney Perkins, but just trying to pick him out off the shoulder.
So far, so good for Heidelberg.
Owen Ashton being run through his paces as well. They're just managing this game at the moment, just keeping Port Melbourne at arm's length.
They can't attack too much and throw numbers forward. You've got the goal advantage, man down.
McCare rides the tackle and picks out Emmanuel Peters. The flag's up, and it won't count. It stayed out anyway, somehow. Emmanuel Peters continues to be a thorn in the side of these Burgers defenders, but they held their line.
Jeez, he makes such good runs off the ball, Peters. Just the way he slipped in there, slightly offside.
It's nice to see McCare looking for him as well. So many players just blaze away in that position and no regard for maybe a striker in a better spot. South Sudan international, McCare, I should say. Ethan Brooks held up by Apostolopoulos. Oh, he's hurt himself in the process of making that challenge. Ellis will knock one through for Marzis. Ilya Shalamanov-Trenkov. First we've heard from him in a while. Able to make the clearance.
He's in a bit of trouble, Apostolopoulos. It's the last thing Heidelberg needs.
Well, it was Port Melbourne's substitute right back going down injured in the first half. We had concerns over Mark Latsis. He was fine. He sprung back up and he's played magnificently. But Apostolopoulos going down. There's not really a natural replacement. Owen Ashton, forward player. Backup goalkeeper, and that's about it. Changes for Port Melbourne. On comes Owen Stokes, the Irishman. Boasts a pretty decent CV. Leeds United youth, Cork City, Derry City as well, amongst a host of other Irish clubs. And Andrew Mezzaruni's come on as well. Lucas Burns sacrificed. And McCare will be his last contribution.
This gives Heidelberg a little bit of time to readjust. Seems to be okay, Apostolopoulos.
Was limping, but he will have to stay off for one passage of play.
Yeah, judging by that haircut, Josh, he's got to be a heavy metal punk rocker. So they're built as tough as nails, the punk rockers.
Suffered worse afflictions in the mosh pit, surely. Apostolopoulos allowed back on the field, so 9 is back to 10 for Heidelberg. And Idara now has the injury complaint.
Yeah, he's copped one in the crown jewels there. Never fun.
Here's Owen Stokes, the substitute on the ball for the first time. Latsis, great first touch. Drifts in field, Owen Stokes. Sliding challenge from Idara. Brooks. Well, every Port Melbourne attacker had retreated, and it's an uncontested ball for Yaron Souza to pick up. He's just absorbing every second at the moment that he can. as is the remit when you're the goalkeeper in a team with a man disadvantage. Nice spin from Collins. Ben Collins has the eyes up. It's a hopeful pass. Shalamanov-Trenkov outside his box. No nonsense. Brooks. Milovanovic. Looking for Latsis. A lot of air underneath that pass, and Ellis retreating. Sean Ellis. Well, there's all the experience on show there.
It's probably the reason why Anastasiadis brought him on.
Well, Sean Ellis famed for his touch and technique and goal-scoring ability, but during the peak years of George Katsakis and the Cardiac kids over at Heidelberg, they were the masters of game management and knew all the tips and tricks and dark arts you need to win championships and manage situations just like this. A one-goal cushion and a red card.
To be honest, Port Melbourne's kind of dropped off since they've had the man advantage.
The delays haven't helped. Injury stoppages and so forth. It's just taken a bit of the momentum out of the Port Melbourne attack. Heidelberg have taken the more conservative approach, as you might imagine. Now here's Emmanuel Peters, who's drifted wide. Has the beating of Nicolaitis. Peters drives it across the area. Stokes saw it whip past him. Karmas. For Leach. Owen Stokes. Slides one through to Peters. Irishman can't find a teammate. Idara looks up and sees precisely 0 yellow shirts ahead of him.
The issue Port Melbourne's having is that when it was 11 v 11, Heidelberg was a bit open and getting caught in transitional moments, and Port Melbourne is very, very good in transition, especially with Peters up top with his pace. That's how they were getting their opportunities, with Heidelberg being a little bit open defensively. Now, obviously, they've got 9 behind the ball and very limited space for Port Melbourne to open them up, and now it's Port Melbourne having to dominate the possession and find a way through, which kind of really isn't their game.
Baker. The Sharks unpick this stubborn and disciplined Heidelberg setup. Dropping to 5 at the back at times here. See Yokokawa just joining in as a right wing back, and Apostolopoulos almost a third centre back at the moment at times. Helped on by Mezzaruni, doesn't stick. Owen Stokes. Courtney Perkins. Just looking to thread a needle for run of Ethan Brooks. Ellis. Clearing defensive header. Owen Ashton looking to make his entrance off the Heidelberg bench. They've made all their substitutions now. And Asahi Yokokawa will be replaced. He was electric at times in the first half. His influence has waned as the game's gone on.
Yeah, another victim of circumstance. It's more a back 6 at times as well. Sean Ellis coming in.
Oh, Jose Mourinho at Anfield.
Why not? Got the lead. Come and break us down. Sometimes it can affect your psychology as well. When you've got the man advantage, you just think, yeah, it's going to happen. We've got the one man advantage. We're going to open this side up, but it can work against you at times.
Stokes. Just looking for the run of Leach. Again, there's just a wall of yellow shirts in the way. Move it side to side. That's what Nick Marinos wants, just to keep reshuffling this Heidelberg defence until they can pick a gap.
He's spot on there with his instructions.
Peters around the outside. Ran out of room and it's fired into the side netting.
That's what they have to keep doing, is just quick ball speed and move it, as Marinos was shouting out. Just move it side to side until you can find that gap. You know, you're not going to be able to go directly through that brick wall. You've got to go around it.
Just enjoying the ball kids contesting that one. Off the chest of Ellis. Nicolaitis. Baker's head up. Mezzaruni. Stokes finds Brooks. Ethan Brooks in the 1v1. Apostolopoulos closes him down, but they have a corner.
It's good defending there from Apostolopoulos. Just holding him up. Don't tell me, Josh. No, he's walking away from it. Brooks, good.
Is this the fake shoelace or? Crowd of the 6-yard box here, Port Melbourne. Owen Stokes over the corner. It will be a more conventional front post delivery. Can't beat Sean Ellis. Courtney Perkins. Karmas, Mezzaruni, no flag. And Yaron Souza makes a great stop. He's caught one in the face.
Great goalkeeping, put his body on the line. Mezzaruni had every right to go for that ball.
And another look at this one. Flicked into the air by Ellis. Perkins with the header. He's not onside, not offside rather. He's perfectly within his rights, but Yaron Souza was really brave. Well, let's hope he can continue here, because Heidelberg, I believe, have made all their changes, and they can't bring on Ryan Govan if worst comes to worst. So we've seen a bit of everything in this game, but a team with 9 men and an outfielder in goal, we haven't seen that yet. Hopefully we don't if Yaron Souza's okay to continue. Bit of a patch-up job, perhaps.
Might be putting Apostolopoulos in goals if it comes to that, Josh. No fear from the punk rocker, I reckon. I'm sure he's caught a few guitar picks in his lifetime. Looks like he's in a bit of trouble, doesn't he, Souza? Doing the concussion test at the moment.
Yeah, this isn't good.
Hopefully for Heidelberg it's the Tom Manos concussion test, because you can pass that no matter how concussed you are. I reckon there's going to be about 8 or 10 minutes of stoppage time in this one.
Let's glance at the watch from Gadirian.
Not much you can do in this situation. You just got to wait for Souza to get back on his feet.
Yaron Souza. Looks like he's okay to continue. And we're back underway. Baker, is he caught by the studs there of Leo Marzis? Play goes on for Port Melbourne. Mezzaruni. Feta Hajic in the way, and now Stokes! He was already wheeling away to celebrate. He struck that so sweetly, but Yaron Souza up to the task.
Well, he's definitely not concussed. That's a great save.
must have felt great coming off the boot because Owen Stokes thought he'd scored. He's over this set piece. Ethan Brooks. Idara, was that off her hands? Play goes on. Karmas, Peters, another save from Souza, but Port Melbourne force it home. It's Andrew Mezzaruni. Controversy abounds. Heidelberg thought there was a hand. Johnny A is arguing with the fourth official. But the Sharks can celebrate. They are level at long last.
It's all clear there. Josh come off his chest. Mezzaruni's been great since he's come on. Great finish from the youngster.
Huge moment in this game. Heidelberg had almost done enough.
It was the one time that Heidelberg just threw a couple of numbers forward, hoping to catch Port Melbourne on the counter, and it just didn't work out for him. We said earlier that, you know, Port Melbourne was struggling to break him down because Heidelberg was keeping numbers back. They looked better before when it was 11v11 and it was a bit more open. The one time Heidelberg gets caught out, bang, Port Melbourne take advantage of it.
Lovely spin from Latsis. Very neatly done. And now look at Courtney Perkins. Souza doesn't come. It's Courtney Perkins through on the goalkeeper, and Yaron Souza makes a cracking save. And arguably, Jackson Courtney Perkins should have done a lot better there.
He should have done better, but Souza is unbelievable goalkeeper, Josh. The saves that he's made tonight, they've all been world class. The reach he gets, his reflexes, his reading of the game, when to come out, when to stay on your feet. You know, even for the goal, made a great save. Unlucky with the way it bounced off him. And Port Melbourne are coming.
Here goes Emmanuel Peters. Cuts it back for Stokes. Charlie Leach now held up by the challenge of Idara. Milovanovic. Stokes has made a real impact since he's come on. Directing traffic. Peters fires it into the box. Knocked away with the header. Again, Heidelberg perched on their 18-yard box. And it's just into the side netting. Oh, the Port Melbourne bench thought it was in. It was Ethan Brooks who let fly, deflected. The net bulged, but on the outside. Just under 2 minutes of regulation to play. Stokes in swinger is good. Clash of heads, Milovanovic. And there's real concern here. Both physios sprinting on. It's the Heidelberg player who's down and looks to be worse for wear.
Got to say, Nick Marinos has got his substitutes spot on tonight, Josh. Mezzaruni came on and made a major impact.
Owen Stokes as well,
yeah.
Gone on the ball a hell of a lot.
Latsis as well. They've all been spot on calls. He's read the game well.
Is that Ben Collins who's down?
It is Ben Collins that's down.
Again, another worrying moment. Poirier Guderian signalling to the fourth official. Looked like 8 minutes from the fingers.
I hate to say, Josh, but I'm right again. There's been a lot of stoppages.
There's been some very long stoppages in this second half. A lot of injury issues, concussion scares anyway. And now the board goes up 8 minutes plus whatever extra time this takes to assess Ben Collins. Milovanovic sporting some fresh strapping after the clash of heads.
South Melbourne with a 3-1 lead over at Paisley Park at the moment. 15 minutes to go in that one.
Well, have Heidelberg missed their chance to go top? South Melbourne leading. So it's 10 v 9 at the moment as Collins, well now it's 11 v 9. Heidelberg, can they cling on here? Ethan Brooks streaking away. Souza will see it behind for a goal kick. And now Ben Collins allowed back on the pitch.
They took their time getting him back on there.
Well, you don't want to take any chances. A knock to the head.
I feel like there's one big chance left in this one, Josh.
At least with 6 minutes of stoppage still to play. At least. Stokes for Leach. Got all their ball players on the park now. Port Melbourne. Milovanovic. Turns it wide for Ethan Brooks. Up against Owen Ashton. Last man off the bench for Heidelberg. Brooks, great feet. Up against Apostolopoulos. Running out of room, he had to just dink it in low and Ben Collins able to clear.
It's good defending again by Apostolopoulos, who just stood his ground, didn't stick his leg out. Most defenders get sucked in that situation, give away a penalty.
Milovanovic. Short for Stokes. Rides the challenge of Ellis and feeds Latsis on the right. Decent delivery, but he can't pick out a teammate. Feta Hadzic gets on the end of it. Down Nicolidis with the clearance.
Looks like a player, doesn't he, Stokes? He's bossing the midfield at the moment.
Milovanovic. Fires it into Latsis. Peters, Emmanuel Peters just bullied off the ball a little bit there. Marzis. He get Heidelberg out. On a hiding to nothing against Milovanovic. Just careful not to foul. Charlie Leach. Courtney Perkins. Brooks. Good challenge from Owen Ashton, I should say. Stokes. Milovanovic thinks about the shots. Speculative one. Stokes sliding in. Clean challenge. Mazzaruni couldn't make it stick. And now Collins has his pocket picked by Dane Milovanovic. Heidelberg a couple of men short after they tried to break away. Emmanuel Peters. No way past Nicolidis. And Port Melbourne have a throw deep in opposition territory.
I feel like Heidelberg's hanging on for their lives at the moment.
You can feel the tension out there from the Burgers. They thought they had this game in the bag when they took the lead and were playing such eye-catching football in the opening exchanges. Twice they've taken the lead, twice they've been pegged back. Adrian Zara's red card has really put them under the cosh here. Baker lifts it in. Enough yellow shirts to get it away. Brooks. Can he fashion an angle? Instead he squares it for Leach. Massive tangled bodies in front of him. Courtney Perkins took too long. Baker. Slips in Latsis. Lots of space to measure this cross. Mark Latsis, not a bad delivery. Johnny Apostolopoulos equal to it, but now it falls for Owen Stokes. Oh my goodness. Heads in hands on the Port Melbourne bench. And for the second time this evening, Owen Stokes thought he'd scored. That was mighty close.
It's very, very close. Cesar could even get to that one.
There's been one-way traffic in this second half, bar the Shepherd goal.
It's a shame the red card came when it did. Would have liked to have seen 11 v 11 how the game would have panned out.
Leach helps it on. Mezzaruni. A timely intervention from Aiden Feta-Harjic. Port Melbourne corner. Just calling Mark Latsis to stay outside. They've got no one on the halfway line, Port Melbourne. They are all in. Chips in for the 3 points. They snatch a winning goal. Stokes. Off Brooks. No handball. Yes, it is eventually given against Ethan Brooks.
Should be able to see it out from here, Heidelberg. Well-earned point if they can hang on.
It could have been so much more. Think about the way they played in the first half, but at this point, a point they will take, and they will take it gladly.
Both sides have been impressive tonight, Josh.
It's rare that you come away from a game and your opinion of both teams is enhanced, but I think in their different ways, they've both shown their qualities tonight. Maybe a draw would be fitting in that regard, although Port Melbourne has dominated the second 45.
If Port Melbourne can just find some consistency throughout the season, it could be a real finals contender. They've got a lot of excitement in their team. Just need to find that consistency. That's the key for Port Melbourne. They've got a good playing style.
Quite an unconventional formation that a lot of teams in the league don't always know how to deal with. Collins sends it forward. Latsis for Peters. They a little stretched here, Heidelberg. Emmanuel Peters, big switch out to Brooks. Ethan Brooks going at Ashton. Brooks from range, and it's a straightforward stop for Yaron Souza. And Puria Guderian calls time after a thrilling night at JL Murphy. It ends all square. The 10 men of Heidelberg United cling on for a point. Port Melbourne will be pleased with their comeback. Twice they were behind, twice they drew level. Have to wonder if they've left something on the table here, Mark.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed, Heidelberg, the way the game panned out in the end. But it was an entertaining game of football. That's what NPL Victoria is all about. That was a classic NPL Victoria game. Port Melbourne feel like they would have probably should have got all 3 points, and Heidelberg, if they kept 11 on the park, would have felt that they could have got all 3 points. So it draws a fair result in the end. But Port Melbourne did really pepper Heidelberg, didn't they? 21 shots to 9 in the end.
They had them hemmed in throughout the second half, even before the red card, must be said, although Kane Shepherd broke up that dominance with a goal at the other end.
He did. That was the only chance Heidelberg really had in that second half.
Played some sensational football at times in the first, but were pegged back from that screamer from Emmanuel Peters in first half stoppage time. Sahi Yokokawa opening the scoring initially for Heidelberg before that Peters leveller from range. Kane Shepherd on the mark early in the second half against the run of play, but Andrew Mezzaruni off the bench snares a point for the Sharkies. A deserved reward for their second half dominance. Heidelberg failed to win again here at JL Murphy. They haven't won here since 2019. But in the circumstances, a point will do nicely. We'll sign off here on the NPL Victoria live stream. Josh Parrish alongside Mark Ivkovic this evening. Mark, pleasure to have your company, mate.
Likewise, Josh.
And the final score is Port Melbourne Sharks 2, Heidelberg United 2.